And then it says that 58 of those people are off the market. So the remaining 7 of them are year-to-date business. But the whole goal is you want to make sure you're communicating with your people so that way you don't just run out of your today business. You have business coming down the pipeline. All right. Now, here's what I'm also going to say or ask. Does anybody know the statistic of how many people, what's the average someone stays in a house? How many years?
5 years, I think.
So
it's 7 to 10.
It's 7 to 10. The average actually went up recently. So that's according to NAR, by the way. So if you're focusing on the people that are in your database, the predictability of you being able to catch those people at any given time when they're ready to move is pretty significant, right? As long as you're communicating with them, you'll catch them at the right time. Because the whole goal is you want to catch them because, all right, so I'm gonna use an example. Say you close on a house today with somebody. There's this little curve that you can draw. So there's a curve, they're gonna go down the bell curve. So they're not gonna, if they just bought a home, they're probably not gonna buy another one within the next year or so, right? So they're gonna go down, but then once they're ready to move around that 10-year mark, it comes up again. And you want to make sure you hit them at that point. Or you're talking to them at that, not hit them, that's not the right word, but talk to them at that point. So that way they'll use you as their real estate agent. Okay. Any questions on that? Good? All right. All right, so now we're going to talk about your ROI. So to take advantage of a predictable ROI. So the average ROI is 10 to 1 or 14 to 1. So for every dollar that you invest in your database activities, expect at least $14 from it. So again, make sure you're spending your money smart. Okay? Do not spend money on, I don't know, magazines to get sent out. Some people might not read magazines, right? Don't spend a lot of money on stuff that is not going to give you return on your investment. Now, hey, magazines might work for your business. You never know. But what I will tell you, some advice is try something for a year, like an actual year. Don't only try it for a month, and then if it doesn't work, don't stop it. Try it for an entire year to see if you get an ROI on it. If you don't, then you can move on. But if you do, that activity is actually getting you business, right? So try something for a year and see if it works. Okay. It is possible to get much more with repeat and referral business as long as you're doing all of the activities. Okay. Any questions on this piece? We're doing okay? All right. All right, so to take advantage of predictable ROI, there's 3 important considerations. So you want to have the lowest cost per lead, and then you want to have the lowest conversion cost, and it pays for itself. So if you're paying for leads, you want to make sure that you have the lowest possible cost per lead. So if you're doing a Facebook ad through commands, on average, and our entire company, the average cost per lead is like $1.50, I think, at most. Has anybody done Facebook ads yet in here? Through command. All right, if you don't mind me sharing, how much is your cost per lead on average, do you think? For those of you that raise your hand.
Like literally change. It's
change, right?
I mean, I don't know the
Like,
exact number, but it's literally, I mean, I run ads for open houses. I usually do 3-day ads and probably spend $10 at the most. So, and I know on average I get about 24 leads.
Right. Josh, what were you going to say? I know you unmuted yourself. You started talking.
I do Facebook ads all the time. I'm averaging probably 89 cents to $1.10 a lead. Get about 60% answers on.
Right. Now here's what I'm also going to say, guys. Like your Facebook ads, they are they're internet leads. So just keep that in mind. They might not be right now business, but eventually they will turn into something. Okay. It's an internet lead that, here's the thing, I'm totally guilty of it. I just like to go and look at houses online. Not gonna lie. I just like looking at houses. It's just what I do. Okay. Some people are like that. but eventually I'm gonna want to buy a house. So you want to make sure you're nurturing somebody, nurturing those people so that way when they are ready, you're going to be that person that they use. Okay. Now I know Josh, I know I'm putting you on the spot right now, but I know you've gotten some business from your Facebook ads before. You've had a couple, I think you had a couple go under contract. Am I correct on that?
I think I'm at 4 that I've contracted, and I have 2 more actively looking.
Right.
That's
So-
been over 6 months.
Right. And that's what you're going to have an ROI in those ads that you've ran. Am I correct on that? A good ROI? Yeah, absolutely. So just keep that in mind, guys. Right. Okay. Your lowest conversion costs. So when properly built and maintained, a database will actually end up producing its own leads in the form of repeat clients and referrals, and it will also have the lowest conversion cost. So like someone brought up earlier, your database is not just for the business or the people that are actually buying or selling that's in your database. You want to make sure you're touching on them to get referrals as well. Always ask for a referral, guys. Hey, who do you know that's looking to buy or sell or invest in real estate? Just one question that you have to ask. Now, I'm not saying ask it every single time you talk to somebody, but you can, anytime you're having a conversation about real estate, you can always bring that up. Okay. I'm going to give you a little pointer here, guys, too. When you're talking to your people, ask them how their job is going or how's work going. They'll say, oh yeah, it's okay. And then they're going to say, how about you? Kind of opens up the door for you to talk about real estate. Just an FYI. Okay. And it pays for itself. So a database makes it easier to do consistent follow-up. And when you're good at consistent follow-up, the resulting leads will end up paying for themselves. Okay. So you want a database that actually pays for itself. Any questions on that? You doing okay so far? All right. Is anybody ready for a break? Anybody need to get coffee, go to the bathroom? Good? All right, so let's take how about we take a 5-minute break, or how much time do you think we need? 5, how about we do 8 minutes? I feel like 8 gives you some time. So
phone calls, getting personal touch, doing it the easy way. And I mean, prospecting, marketing is where you have to spend money to make money.
absolutely.
I
So
think of prospecting as in the sense of putting yourself out there, seeing what you get from it, and then marketing is taking, kind of the clients or the people that you've kind of made contacts with and knowing how to market to them specifically or a specific style of group.
right, absolutely.
Marketing is passive compared to prospecting.
Mm-hmm. So the two big differences are marketing, it requires the money aspect of everything, right? So it requires you to spend money. Prospecting doesn't necessarily, it may cost some money, but it might not cost as much, but it requires more time, right? If you're doing marketing, it might not cost you as much time, if that makes sense. When you're prospecting, you're making calls, you're doing all of the things for prospecting. We all know that you should spend time block 3 hours a day to do prospecting, right? Usually in the morning.
Right.
For marketing, you could probably get a marketing email blast done in probably maybe 5-10 minutes, depending on what you're doing. But it costs money. So an email blast might not cost money, but marketing costs you money. If you do a Facebook ad, that'll take you 5 to 10 minutes and it costs you $30. And you're kind of hoping that you'll get business off of it. Prospecting it's very marketing can be specific, but so is prospecting. You're calling the people that you have raised their hands or have showed some inkling of either buying or selling or something like that. Marketing, you're kind of putting out a net hoping to catch somebody. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, when you're prospecting, you might talk to people that you need to put on your marketing campaign or your marketing stuff or your marketing smart plans. That's totally fine. It's just, those are for more long-term results. When you prospect, you're looking for results like right now, today. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? Good? Okay.
Will you repeat that last phrase?
That's a great question. What did I just say? what did I just? Right. when you're-
Prospecting is you're looking for results today.
Thank you. And then marketing, it's more of long-term results. So you can add people to your smart plans and things like that after you talk to them. But prospecting is like right now. Sorry, guys, I don't have very good memory. I'm not gonna lie. I have sticky notes all over the place. All right. Any other questions before we move on? Good? All right. So we're gonna go into segmenting into groups a little bit. So what I like to talk about in here is kind of brainstorm some tags that you could use in your command, and then I'm gonna show you how you can use those tags. So who can raise their hand or take yourself off mute and tell me some different types of tags that you either have started to implement or have some ideas about how to implement?
I'm doing buyer, seller, for starters, A, B, C, D.
So tell me more about the A, B, C, D. How do you, what's the categories for that?
A is they're ready now. B is they'll be ready in maybe a month to 3 months.
Okay.
C is 3 to 6 months. And then D is definitely nurture them. I hate to assign somebody a D, but it's just easier. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So you use the A, B, C, D system basically. Okay. So that'll take the place of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like we talked about before. Some people do the letters, some people do numbers. It all depends on how you want to separate it out. What are some other tags that you guys have been using or plan to use?
Pick hobbies. If they're into hiking,
Oh, that's a good idea.
jujitsu, running. I also pick animal lovers, dogs, cats.
That's a great idea. So do you market to those types of specific people, or is that just more of like a conversation starter or something like that?
I do it for both. What I do is like for like national, those weird holidays, National Puppy Day and all that other stuff. I even get more detailed if they have a puppy or something like that.
Okay.
I'll just send them a quick message. I have them categorized in my Facebook too by groups. So I'll send them little quick notes, or I'll send them a text if it's only a couple of them. If I see an article, I'll send them an article. I just use it just to give them more information so I could do another touch. And honestly, I'm a sharer.
I think after taking the disc, honestly, guys, I think the single most effective training I've done ever is actually that disc one yesterday. It's changed my life. But I think that might be something like personality style might be helpful in your database and just knowing like how to communicate effectively with them. So like depending on their style, you might not want to send them a bunch of emails, but if they're people like me, you can send me an email. It makes me feel loved.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Absolutely. Some other tags that I've heard people doing is, so past client is on here, but you can do like closed and then the year. So that way you can kind of track your transactions, or see how much business they've given you and things like that. Other people use, if they're like vendors, obviously, if they're a vendor, you do like mortgage lender, attorney, or something like that. Investors is a big one. You want to tag your investors so that way if you do have a property that maybe comes on that is an investment property, you might want to talk to them about. A lot of people just do that ABC or D, or the segmenting as far as what type of buyer are they right now. Because if you just use buyer, you might not know what that means. Like, you know that they're a buyer, but you don't know their time frame. So you kind of want to make sure you segment those out. All right.
Well, the other thing I do is I tag the locations.
That's a good idea. So like where they're looking?
Yeah,
Or-
where they're looking, and if they have a specific style of home that they're like actually, like some people like historical homes, some people like the Cape Cod, some people, things like that.
Absolutely. Another thing that I've heard of too is, this goes into like what Michelle was saying. She said like National Puppy Day and stuff like that. Tag like your mothers and your fathers for like Mother's Day and Father's Day. So that way you can reach out to them. That was a big aha that I had the other day. Somebody brought that up. I'm like, I didn't even think of that. So that way you can, because here's the thing, guys. If you send a happy Mother's Day out to just like maybe the women in your database, some of them might not be mothers, right? So you want to be very specific to the people that have children or something like that. So it's
Can I
another-
ask a question real quick, Chelsea? It's actually directed to Michelle.
Okay.
Do you spend a lot of time doing, sending out those messages and articles and things like that on Facebook? I mean, it sounds like it would be very time consuming.
I don't watch a lot of TV anymore. And if I do have the TV, it's just, I cut out my TV time to do a lot of this because it's just, I found out that if I watch TV, I go into the Netflix black hole of series watching. So I've made a conscious effort, and I guess the word is purposeful, not to watch TV. If I'm watching TV, I am sending people messages, I'm sending them links. I also do cards at that time while I'm watching TV, and you don't have to put a lot of thought into the cards, but I usually get all of my cards done at that time. I have a certain sphere of what I call my lovely ladies. And I'll give you an example. For Valentine's Day, I call it Galentine's Day. I send about 50 women Valentine's Day cards, and I say Happy Galentine's Day on it. Just miss you, want to see you soon. Just because now, since people are we're getting out more, but people this whole last year, these touches, just with like once a month, I send everybody that I care about a card, but there's probably about 80 people that I picked. I send them a card once a month, and then I have my prospecting cards just to touch base with them, because emotionally, I don't know about you guys, but a lot of my friends this last year, between the pandemic and just having cabin fever, an extended cabin fever, I'm calling it, they appreciate those cards more than anything else. And they'll post them on Facebook, and it's insane how much a simple card with just, hey, thinking about you means to these people now. So I do that during my TV time too.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, so now we're gonna go into doing custom tags. So show of hands, how many of you have been in command already? Everybody pretty much? All right, awesome. So I'm gonna open up my command here.
A little bit.
A little bit, yeah. Oh, Olivia, it's okay, I get it. You literally started like 2 days ago, so you're fine. All right, so in commands, my share button would work, there we go. When you're doing tags and everything like that, so like mine are a little unique based on, because I have all of my agents in here. But what you would do is when you add a contact up here, this is where all of your tags are going to be. Okay, so it's going to be in this tag section. Now, everything that is gray that you have in here is called a system tag. So that means that the KW has given you that tag already. Now, if you want to create a tag, so say, I'm just going to use Michelle's example, puppy, they have dogs or something like that, right? Or hiking. What you can do is type in hiking, and you can create a custom tag by just clicking on this create custom tag button, and then you can choose a color if you want to, make it pretty. So if you want to do, I'll just do this bright green color, and then it's automatically going to add it to that client or that person. Every person can, any person that you have in your command can have however many tags you want to give to them. Here's what I'm going to say though. Do not add like 17,000 tags, guys. Try to be like very specific, and because you don't want to add the tag buyer and use the tag a buyer. You don't want 2 tags that say buyer in it, because then it might be a little confusing. Now, just the reason I say that is because when you're creating tags, find the purpose behind it. Why am I creating that tag? What am I going to do with that tag? If it's for pulling a list of all of my people, then yes, absolutely create the tag. If it's for, like Michelle said, sending out little texts or links and stuff like that, then yes, absolutely use that tag. But if it's just because you want to create a tag, just try to make it specific and have a purpose behind it. Does that make sense? You don't want to just create a tag to create a tag.
Yeah, and Chelsea, I want to add, I didn't do that at first, so it became that I found out that a lot of my friends had certain similarities and a lot of people that I met, and those are the tags I created. I didn't like you said, you don't want to go hyper local or hyper specific. You're gonna find out that, like a lot of my friends they love animals, they donate to the SPCA and things like that. So that's why I started doing that, just because I found out through conversations with them, a lot of them cared about animals. So that's why I started adding them in as additionals.
Right. Absolutely.
Definitely.
Thank you, Michelle. Also, guys, don't get this confused by lead source either. I've seen a lot of people start doing tags for lead sources. You don't have to do that because you have a lead source section. So if you want to do a lead source as open house, don't add an open house tag unless it's maybe for a specific address. You could do like 123 Main Street open house if you want, or something like that. But do not just use your lead source as a tag, because you have a field for lead source and you can pull that specific field if you want to. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Any questions on tags, on how to add them and create them? And what types of different tags to use?
Yes, Chelsea, I was guilty of using lead source as a tag. So I was, for example, I was using Facebook, if I met them on Facebook versus I met them as a friend.
Mhm.
So should I just stop doing that, or should I go back and redo?
So if they don't have so did you add the tag and the lead source, or did you just add the tag as Facebook?
I don't remember. I'd have to go back and look.
Okay. So here's what I'll say. If you don't have the lead source as Facebook, but you have the tag, I would go in and just change it to the lead source and then remove the tag. If you have both, then just remove the tag. I mean, there's no point in keeping the tag unless, I mean, here's the thing, I don't know how many Facebook leads you have or how many Facebook people you have in your command, but it could be a little time consuming if you do it that way. Just keep that in mind.
I mean, yeah, okay, I've got to think about this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chelsea?
Yeah.
So my husband and I were going through his phone, and some people know him as a nickname and some people know him as Neil. So I was putting in as a lead source either Neil or his nickname versus a tag, so that when I call them, I would know how they knew my husband. But would you recommend doing that as a tag instead of a lead source?
Probably, because the lead source, the whole idea behind the lead source is where that person came from, right? You want the origin of, like, if they came from an open house, if they came from Facebook, if they came from a sign call. That's what you're going to use as lead source.
So
for that, for
so
your
people would be coming from him. So
Okay.
they would be his contacts that I'm now going to reach out to.
Okay. So I would so when you do a lead source in here, you can actually select from your contact. So I would suggest actually adding your husband in as your contact.
Oh, okay.
And then you can select his name. But also I would maybe use your specific scenario, you might want to do a tag as like Neil or whatever his nickname may be. So that way you know what they call him, if that makes sense, or what they know him by. That might be a good idea.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good.
Any other questions? Very good. Okay. Well, let's go back to this PowerPoint. All right. Moving on. Look at us. We're going pretty fast here, guys. Okay. Next slide. So leads and contacts. So here's my next question. Who knows the difference between a lead and a contact?
A lead is someone that you haven't necessarily like created rapport or like even connection with. It's someone that you can you need to like communicate with, give a call, email, whatever. And a contact is someone that you actually have spoken with and received information about them and their contact info. So you can communicate with them.
Right. Absolutely. I would agree.
The lead is a qualified candidate.
Okay.
contacts to somebody, you know, somebody who's in your list, somebody who's in your database. But the lead is that person who has been, as a contact who has been qualified.
Okay. Anybody else have their definition of a lead and a contact? Okay, so the Keller-Williams definition between the two are, so a lead is somebody that you have had a one-way conversation with. What that means is you've been trying to contact them. Say you get them off of Facebook, or they call off of, or they come in off of your website or something like that. It's a new lead that came in and you're trying to make contact with them, but they are not answering you. That is a lead, okay? It's a one-way conversation. You're the only one participating. They're not calling you back. A contact is someone that you actually make contact with. It's called a two-way conversation. They're interacting with you, okay? Now, you may have your own definition of leads and contacts. That's totally fine. Whatever, however your system works. But that's what the Keller-Williams way of looking at it is, okay? Because the whole idea is you want to connect with your leads so that way they become a contact and then you can do business with them later down the line. So for leads, we're going to go over this. We went over this touch campaign earlier, but there's 19 for the touch campaign for leads. There's a 19 to connect. That's what it's called. So you're trying to touch them 19 times in order to connect with them or have a conversation. Okay. So that includes the 4 touches for the quarterly call, doing those 12 touches, 1 touch a month for a year, doing 2 touches, and then another touch with the annual event and stuff like that. For contacts, that is the person that you've communicated with, you've had a conversation. Now, guys, it does not have to be just a real estate conversation too. So if you connected with your brother on, hey, how you're doing today, that's a contact. Okay. It doesn't necessarily have to be just on real estate related stuff. Okay. There we go. All right. And so then there's a 36, it's called 36 to convert. So what that means is you're trying to convert that contact into business. All right. Now here's the thing. It's a 36 touch for like a year span. Doesn't mean that they're going to convert them in 1 year. You're going to just keep doing it until they convert. Does that make sense? Okay. Because you're going to have a contact that maybe bought a house yesterday and you're going to want to convert them once they're ready to buy again or sell again. That might be 5-10 years from now. You're just going to still communicate with them at any given time. Okay. Questions on this piece?
With the contacts and the 26 touches, like when we, so it's that like, is it specifically an email or does it also include like if you do social media posts and like, because you can educate and educate. Wow, that was a weird way of saying that. You can do education and like I went on Etsy and I actually purchased like an Instagram bundle for real estate that also has like, it's just so it's easy to like post, right. But it has information that's beneficial to buyers and sellers that give them more information. Are we hopefully specifically doing those 26 touches by email or can it be social media too?
So you can, if you're doing a individual touch through social media, so like through Facebook message or direct message on Instagram, then yes, that can count. But if you're doing a more blanket post, then that does not count. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course, no problem. Any other questions before I move on? All right, awesome. So there's 2 ways to tend to your database. It's called, first one is build a culture around testimonials and reviews. All right. So I'm going to give you a little nugget, guys. People will do business with people that they like and they know, right? So if you have that relationship, I always tie it back to relationship. If you have that relationship with your clients or your people, they're going to do business with you. If you don't have that relationship with them, they may not use you. I'm not going to lie, guys. So you want to make sure you build that relationship. Okay. Getting to know someone allows you to basically treat them like a friend, or actually you may become friends. How many of you have clients that are you're really good friends with? Right. Here's the thing. I sold a house to my best friend. I'm friends with her. We became best friends after I actually sold her a house. It was really weird, but it's a thing. Okay, so you have to make sure that you get to know your clients and it's not just a business transaction for you. I mean, yes, that's the end game, but you want to have a relationship. Okay. And when you build that relationship, you're actually building culture around real estate and building a culture around the relationship itself. All right. How do you ensure that reviews and testimonials are actually done? How do you make sure that your clients do them for you?
Ask them.
You ask them. Now, what are some ideas of, oh, go ahead.
Process.
Say that again, Elizabeth, I'm
I
sorry.
ask them throughout the process.
You ask them throughout the process, absolutely.
So it's not some big thing they have to do at the end.
Right, I mean, here's the thing, guys, they've been working in our area, it's taking, what, two months around to close, 2.5 months, depending on appraisals and stuff like that. You're talking to them for a very long time. Ask them throughout the process. Some of your people you might do multiple transactions with, especially investors, right? So just ask them to do the testimonials and reviews. So let's brainstorm some ideas of where they can do the reviews.
Your Facebook business page.
Facebook business page, awesome. What else?
Google.
Guys, Google is like a big thing right now. Create a Google business page.
Can you talk about that at some point, creating that Google business page? I need to do that, and I don't even know where to start. I don't want to get
of course
into like a rut. All right.
Yeah. So it's just, you just go to, honestly, Elizabeth, Google business, and it'll pop right up and you'll be able to sign in and create a Google business page. You can do it right through your KW email. Just make sure it's compliant with New York State. So again, just send that. If I don't know who does compliance in your market centers, but make sure you send your Google business pages to your compliance area to make sure it's compliant with New York State, because a lot of our agents are starting to get in trouble with that. But yeah, have your clients do Google reviews? How many of you go to Google to search for things? I do it literally, I think 40 to 50 times a day. I just Google stuff. It's honestly how I train myself in all of the technology. I ain't gonna lie. But anyway, everybody Google stuff all the time. So do Google. What other places?
Yeah, she knows everything.
Yeah. How many times, Sabine, I'm just going to ask this question. How many times are we in an appointment? I'm like, I'm not sure how to do that. Let me Google it. And I figure it out. That's the thing, right? Google is your best friend half the time.
I have, I don't know how to turn around. Oh, there it is. I think you should be able to see this. I have an email. Nope, you can't. Can you see this, guys?
No.
No? I don't know how to. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's I'm sharing my screen, but go ahead and explain it.
So I have an email that I send out that has hyperlinks in it. And it just says, like, I send it probably like 2 weeks before we close. That just like thanks them for their for work, like with for choosing me to work with, and then just build them up by saying that I really enjoyed working with them and all of that. I also say like they can keep in touch with my Facebook page, and then that's usually how, like, since the hyperlinks are in the email, all they have to, and I even suggest like just write one blanket review, and all you have to do is copy and paste it. Just to make it easy for them. I mean, as easy as possible, and give them everything that they need in order to do so.
Guys, I'm gonna tell you a secret. You can create a smart plan in Command just for reviews, for asking for reviews. It's an idea. All right, so we have Facebook, we have Google. What else? What other places can your clients do Google reviews?
Zillow, Realtor.
Zillow, Realtor, okay. Guys, what about your websites?
Websites.
You know, your Command websites can take reviews, right?
Yeah.
Ask for reviews.
I did not know.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Ask for reviews on your website.
Kelsey, can I ask a question about Facebook reviews?
Sure.
If someone's not a Facebook friend of yours and you just send them a link to your business page,
Mm-hmm.
I've had it where the review just doesn't show up unless they're my Facebook friend.
It shouldn't be like that. Anybody can go to your page and do a review. It's public.
So
you don't have to be a friend. If that happens again, let me know and I can do some investigation on that.
Okay.
Also, I think there might be a button when they review it to make it public. So if they don't make it public, that might be why.
I bet that's it.
Keep that in mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions on building a culture around testimonials or reviews?
Hey, Chelsea,
Yes.
can the website, command website still only show 3 reviews at a time?
Right now it's 3. Yes. I will update you as soon as that's fixed. Yep.
Thank you.
Of course. Anything else, guys? All right. What's next here? Sorry. All right. So regularly update and prune your database. What do you think that means?
Keep it current.
Alexa, can I add something?
Keep it, just to keep it current, like in today, instead of, you gotta weed out.
Hold on, guys. There's multiple people talking. All right. I heard something about keeping it updated. Yes, that's correct. And then someone else was talking. I don't know who it was. I'm not gonna lie.
How are you?
Current, just to keep it current.
What's your information about a deal? And it's so important, even the
Okay, I'm not sure who's trying to talk, but yes, keep it updated and current. So guys, when someone buys a house, update their address. Don't keep their old address, right? Use, I like use it. Use your database.
Hey, Chelsea.
Yeah.
I don't know if this really pertains to that, but
Go ahead.
you use your database. So I downloaded all mine, got into a comma separated file and all that. And so I merged that in, and I'm sure there's going to be duplicates and first name, last name is transposed. And so is there best practices? I'm like, I don't know. I guess I answered my own question, but where's your home base of contacts? Is it your phone? Is it your KW website? Is it your spreadsheet? There's 15 million places that you have this, and I guess it's up to the individual.
Here's what I'll say. That's a great question, Chris. Thank you. Here's what I'll say. I would recommend using like your command or your command as your home base. And then what you could do is, as things change, just go in there and update them. So like because here's the thing, sometimes people get new numbers, right? That's the thing. They get new phone numbers. You can update, there's going to be a way to update your phone numbers for your clients, and they're rolling out a new app called Command Mobile, and it's going to be a way where you can edit like their contact information right from your phone, so that way you don't have to go to your desktop, log in, and update everything. So the answer to your question is, I honestly would make your command your home base, just because that's going to have the amount, it's very robust, so it can hold a lot of information about one specific person. Right, rather than having that CSV and then your phone and things like that. You know what I mean?
So yeah, so how do I get those updates from command back to my phone if they're pertinent? It's
okay. So for your phone,
best practices, I guess.
Honestly, it's probably you have to there's not a way to export from your commands and import them into your phone. Really, you would have to make sure that it's updated on your phone and in command, I guess, is the answer to your question. There's not like a best practice around that, unless anybody else knows of something, but. Okay.
I'm just really concerned about duplicates, because Beth and I are gonna, she's gonna download her phone. I'm sure we have the same contacts in our phone.
Okay. So to answer that question, command actually won't make a duplicate. It actually picks up on their email and their phone number. So if it's the same email and phone number, it just won't import a second time. All right. Any other tidbits about regularly updating and pruning your database? Here's some things to think about. Are the right people in it? That's the ultimate question, right? So we always talk about, okay, well, here's my database, but how do I know who to put in it? Anybody have any ideas on who to put in your database?
Everybody.
Everybody that you have contact with in any way, shape, or form. Guys, it can be if you have children, it can be your kid's soccer team, the parents from your kid's soccer team. It can be people that you go to church with, people that you meet at the gym. It can be someone that you like. Here, guys, I became best friends with like a bartender one time, and I put him in my database because he ended up wanting to buy a house down the line. It's a thing.
I've been literally telling the girl who gives me my sushi on my weekly sushi run that
Right.
I'm in real estate.
Exactly.
I literally met a girl here at Panera yesterday and sent her the app, and like, cause she already owns a home, but we talked about the market. So it's really, I mean, she's in my database now. And I mean, it's any and everyone that you meet.
Yeah, Chelsea, I'm gonna just chime in. You guys, especially the new people, share your app with everyone you know. You're not annoying them. They're all on Zillow and all these other ridiculous third-party sites. So if they ever mention, oh, I was looking at this, anytime you have an opportunity, share it, because once you share your app, that's branded to you and nobody else. So
Jill, they
once,
can just access that through the website, right? Through my agent bio on the website.
So yeah, either they can go to your website and download it, or is that Olivia that answered?
Yeah.
Olivia, you can share it with them right from your app.
Okay.
So like if you have their phone number in your phone,
sure.
If you go into the app and click the more button down at the bottom, there's a share the KW app in the menu bar. There's a button that says share.
Awesome.
And you can send it to them directly. And like Michelle is getting at, it automatically, when they download it and create an account, it adds them into your database for you.
I have a question about that.
Okay, go ahead.
So I've been sharing my app, but it's not putting me in as their agent when I share it like that.
Yeah, Chelsea, we actually brought you up yesterday because a couple people, including myself, were having that same issue. And I know in order to do that, you need to you have to have yourself listed as your primary agent when you send it. And we did that step of it as well. And I sent it to my girlfriend just to see, like, what a client would get, on their end. And it still didn't come up with me already set. And I think a couple people have that issue.
So
Yeah,
I spoke.
Okay, hold on, guys. Hold on one second. Matt, you said she created an account?
Yes, correct.
Okay. I'll have to investigate on that. Who else was going to say something? I apologize.
So I spoke to Abby yesterday, out of the West Side office.
Okay.
And she said that they put in a work order regarding it.
Okay.
Because they saw the issue.
Okay. I will update. I'll get an update on that too. I have to talk to our regional person about that too. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. I appreciate that. Michelle, were you going to say something else? I thought you were going to ask something.
No.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Awesome.
Well,
But
see,
yeah.
my understanding of that issue is that they have to go find us. It's part of the law.
That's not necessarily true. They don't, it's not part of the law. They don't have to find you on the app if you're sharing it directly from yourself, from your actual.
That was my misunderstanding. There was something about that where they had to go choose us.
Nope. So our platform is unique to us individually, like each agent. So as long as you're like, here's the thing, is someone's giving you their information so you can send it to them, right? So you have their phone number. So they're basically, as long as they give you their information or their phone number, their email, and some way to contact them, they're voluntarily allowing you to send them stuff. So just keep that in mind.
I would assume that the law probably is more regarding having the option to not necessarily be only allowed one person. So you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like having a choice.
Right. There is a way, like after you give them the app, if it's hidden, like they have to search for it. But in the app, they can technically remove you as their agent and add somebody else, but it's hard to find for them to do that. Just keep that in mind. But by law, yes, you have to have that option to be able to remove somebody. Okay. Any other questions on that?
Hey, Chelsea.
Yeah.
Not on the app, but on the database and who to have in there. I occasionally have
clients on drips or on MLS searches who unsubscribe. You know, they're not interested anymore. They bought a house, they went somewhere else, whatever the case may be. So I get those emails saying, hey, so-and-so unsubscribe. Should I archive them from my command database, or what do I do with those folks?
Yeah, so that's a great question. In command, there is a way to, and I think it's in the additional contact information or something like that. There's a field in there where you can say like, do not contact. There's a toggle that you can turn on. Here's the thing, I would not recommend completely removing them. Just for later down the line, if they choose that they want to like opt back in or something like that. Because here's the thing, if they unsubscribe from an email, they just unsubscribe from an email, you can give them a call, right? So they're not necessary, unless when you get them on the phone, they say, take me off of your list, then yes, completely remove them, that's fine. But if they just unsubscribe from one entity, if that makes sense, or a text message or an email or something like that, you can then still use another way of contacting them unless they tell you no. Does it make sense?
Yeah. So if I've marked them as do not contact, and then I blast an email out to my entire database, it will not email them automatically, or it still would?
It should not, no.
Okay.
Yep.
And where is that? Is a tag, or it's like a checkbox or something?
It's like it's a checkbox, and it's under additional contact information, I think.
Okay.
Off the top of my head, I think that's where it's at. When you click additional contact info, there's going to be a preferred method of contact. It's like phone, email, text, and then it says do not contact.
Yeah, I'll take a look. Great.
Awesome. Anything else, guys, on this part? Doing good? All right. All right, so recaps and ahas. So what I'd like to ask is, how has your thinking changed? What ideas and mindsets or mindsets were new to you today? What have you learned? What are some ahas that you've had?
The difference between the lead source and the tags was kind of important to me.
Okay. Awesome. What else?
I think the whole idea of touches definitely became a little more clear. Whereas I knew what they were before this, but when you look at the 19 and the 36 and you kind of break down where the chunks are coming from, and then why that's important, I think that was the big thing, especially for something like you said, if someone unsubscribes from the email, that's depending on when it's sent out, only X number of touches. There's still, who knows, 10 or 9 touches lingering there that where, when they are ready, they might, come back because of those touches. So the just kind of what they are, how they work, and the importance of them, I think was pretty cool.
Right, absolutely.
I guess kind of, which it might be extremely obvious, the importance of really getting everyone's information. I mean, people I'm friends with, I hear all the time, oh, well, I'll hit you up later on Instagram, or like I'll message you on Facebook or whatever. And it's a lot of it's just online. And like I said earlier, I'm realizing that I know where you live, but
right.
Like, what's your phone number? We talk all the time on Facebook Messenger, and I have your phone number from when we were like 21, but that was a long time ago. Mm-hmm. So like, what's your phone number?
Absolutely. Getting as much information from your people as you can. So we have different ways of contacting them.
I think it was a really big, I know like on our first day of Ignite, Victoria kind of had us do the contacts thing too, but I was not figuring out the math because I'm really bad at that. But just realizing like, even just in my phone, from my contacts to my phone, and then like, I do have a CSV file and I do have all this stuff. And I'm like, do you know, like money, yes, it does drive me, but I do like, I honestly like doing this because I like to help people. And so, but like realizing how much debt I wouldn't have if I were like actually utilizing my database and like I mean, I keep putting myself further into debt because I want to go from point A to point B in like 3 seconds, but in like spending money on things like the first week I was with Keller Williams, I was in the marketplace like every second of my life. I was like, let's buy everything. And then just realizing like that return on investment isn't there. And then so in utilizing these ideas that you've given us and how to utilize costs effectively that was my aha today. It's just being able to figure out ways to market and follow up and use my database to make money instead of spending money
Guys,
irrationally.
And here's what I'll say too. I know some of you on here are new, right? New to the business. Don't spend money before you make money. That's the biggest thing. We talked about doing mailers and stuff like that. That's fine. You can do mailers, but make sure you start with the free stuff first, right? So start by making calls, sending the emails, doing the stuff that doesn't cost you money. Use that stuff first. And then as you start making some money, start doing the more expensive stuff, right? So you can do a Facebook ad for $30. So that's fine. You can do that, but don't go off spending like hundreds of dollars on postcards every month if you're not making any money yet. Do the free stuff first, or the less inexpensive stuff.
Start with the basics.
Just out of curiosity, what about Twilio?
Yep. Twilio.
Yeah, I was just curious about it because everybody, and even Kim was telling me how you can use it and it helps with your command and all that.
Yeah, so Twilio honestly is relatively cheap. It's a texting tool that links with your command, and you can text everybody in your database through that. I think the cheapest plan that you get, because you pay monthly, I think it's like $3.25, I believe. And that gets you 600 and something text messages a month, and they will roll over if you don't use them all. But I would definitely invest in something like that if you want to. Matt, do you have something to share?
Yeah, I just had a question, a kind of general question. The email that we got that had this link and the other one to get to the toolkit, which I have downloaded, but the other part of that, the resources where we have the Spark kind of booklets, will that be forever available? Like if I just save that email, can I use that link all the time to get back there?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So thank you.
Of course. What other ahas have you guys had for today? What different types of behaviors are you guys going to do from today?
Oh, you gave me a great idea with how to start a Google review page, Google business page. So obvious.
Right.
Thank you, Chelsea.
Of course.
Chelsea, can I pass something along to the newer agents?
Please, go ahead.
Review pages, you guys, if you have former bosses or things like that, it doesn't have to be about real estate. They can talk about you as a worker. So don't feel like, oh, I got to wait until I actually get business to do a review. If you're meeting someone and you provided them value and they said, geez, you've been a great help, that's the time you ask them, great, if you don't mind. And don't even say referral, just would you like to just help me by going on my website and just writing something about it or going on my Google page. Those are the things that, you don't have to wait until you sell a house or things like that. I didn't know this for a long time, and I'm starting to reach out to people because that's the one thing I haven't been diligent about is the reviews. So go to your coworkers, people that you've helped before, and just say, hey, I've kicked off this business. I'm really excited about it. Would you mind just writing on my webpage how we worked together in the past? Or if you want to too, because I did this in college when I was trying to get a job. If people are too busy, write the referral for them and tell them, look, you can edit it, cut and paste it, and then add it themselves. I mean, because honestly, that works too. It worked throughout my whole career when I got reviews with my bosses.
Yeah, I mean, I know when I started in this business, I asked my my family even just to do a review, and I've never sold them a house. It was more on like my character and things like that they did reviews on. So you don't have to sell somebody a house for them to review.
Because basically what the review says is that, you know, that you help them with something. You support, because that's the things that people want to hear about. So think about all the times that you helped other people. Go to your sphere of influence things. And sometimes you'll find somebody, you know, you just gave them advice, but they're not ready to buy. If they said, you know, you provided me a ton of information, great. That's another person you want on there.
Absolutely. Here's the thing too, guys. I forgot to share this story earlier because Michelle just brought it up. Educate your people too on how different processes work, right? So what I mean by that is some people don't know that they should use a buyer's agent when they're trying to buy a house. I'm going to tell you a quick story. My brother, he was 20 at the time, I believe. Yeah. He was looking to buy a house. He went on Zillow. He knew I was in real estate. He went on Zillow and he called the listing agent for more information. He knew I was licensed. He knew that I did all of this. He called the listing agent for more information. Then he called me and was like, hey, can you look at this house for me? I'm not really sure what's going on with it. But he started listing off all this extra information. I'm like, how do you know that? He's like, oh, I called the listing agent. She had me sign some paperwork. I'm like, oh my gosh. I was so mad. I'm like, why didn't you call me? He's like, well, I didn't know how it worked. I thought I had to call the listing agent. Guys, make sure you educate your clients too, so that way they know how the process works. Provide value to them. Explain why using a buyer's agent is beneficial to them rather than using the listing agent. Right? Just a little tidbit for today.
Oh yeah, and on that note, I think it's very helpful to have your buyers see the contract for purchase before they have to actually sign it. If you send it to them and have them go over it so that they know what they have to sign when they have to sign it.
I used to give my buyers like a actual contract in the beginning. Like it was just blank. It was just a blank contract. When I did a buyer consult, I would provide it to them and say, listen, when it's time to make an offer, this is what you're going to have to sign with all of your numbers. Yeah. Any other ahas, guys? Any other little tidbits that you guys learned today so far? No? Okay. So I know some people have already left because I think they knew we were getting into script practice, which is fun. But so next we're going to talk about scripts. So in your you guys have a script book for Ignite, right? There is one in there that has, guys, do not hit that leave button. Please do not hit leave just because we're doing scripts. I promise it's going to be okay. Like 3 people just left because I mentioned the word script. Knock it off. Do not do it. I promise it's going to be okay. Listen, I was scared at first too. I'm not going to lie. But okay. So we're going to do a little bit of script practice in there. I believe you have something about going over forward. I think it's like the new to real estate or just that you're with Keller Williams now or something like that. There's a forward script going over talking to your database and things like that, asking them those questions. Chris, are you still on with me? I think you are, right?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Are we doing breakout rooms and having them practice that way? Is that what we've been doing?
That's what we've been doing. We can do that if you'd like.
Sure. Let's do some breakout rooms if you don't mind.
Now, what's really odd is you have the control? Yeah, because on my screen, this is the only day that I've had it to where it's not on my screen.
It might be because I might have logged in, I'm not gonna lie. But let's do, how many people are on the call? 30. So
are the scripts that we're doing, they're not underneath the Spark for your database as your business participation guide, correct?
No, it's a separate script book.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll look. Thanks.
Of course. All right. So I'm gonna put you guys in breakout rooms. I'm gonna be popping in a little bit to check on how you're doing. We're just gonna do the 4. How'd everybody do?
Good.
Good. Anybody have some ahas? What went well? What didn't go well? Let's share.
Well, I kind of just like
So I started off and I kind of just like jumped into I'm a real estate agent for Keller Williams. I was just calling to share this and that instead of kind of like building a rapport um, with, the person that I've never spoken to before. So definitely kind of remembering to get that, to put to build that connection
Right.
first.
Okay.
So it's not like one of these robocalls that I get every day.
Right. Oh, you mean car warranty?
Yes.
Yeah, I totally understand. Absolutely. Who else wants to share? What went well? What'd you guys learn? Guys, I'm taking 2 more, or else you're all gonna stay here.
So we talk a lot about like competency and like how like even in real estate law they talk about competency, and so it's just like I guess what I do when I'm on a call is taking notes directly, and like when it comes down like especially when it comes to like offering it to send an app or something like that, or being in contact, I always ask if the number that I'm calling them at is the best number to reach them at. Because if Brandon, I love you, man. You're like, what's your number? And I was like, yeah, you're calling me on it. So it's just that kind of idea, like, because I mean, it's a great laugh too, though. It could be something where you're like, oh yeah, I totally did just call you on this number. Haha, I'm sorry. But it's just remembering, like, I always have somebody, I think yesterday in our meeting talked about how they have points that they try to meet. She said that she tries to go over an intro and the app, the neighborhood, refer me. And it's like when you do build that rapport, then the conversation will flow a little bit more naturally. Those pauses will be more natural. And you'll be able to not sound like you're a robocaller selling, just like derp, 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 derp. Just in case you didn't hear it, it was derp, 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 derp.
Yeah, the biggest thing is, guys, put your own spin on everything, so you don't sound like you're following a script, if that makes sense. As you practice more, you'll be able to do that, I promise. Sometimes you'll think that you're not following the script, but you are, because you've done it so many times. I can't tell you, sometimes I'm in appointments and I can't even remember what I said because I just do it all the time, because it's just part of who it like becomes engraved in our head. So keep that in mind, that the more you practice it, the more it's going to stay in your head, and you'll be able to put your own twist on everything. So
yeah, just tell me more. It's so simple and so effective. People like to talk about themselves, and if you show interest, they immediately like you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, asking questions is key too, guys. I know Chris brought this up. Somebody brought it up in one of the breakout rooms. You want to do 30% of the talking and let the other person talk 70% of the time. You want to ask as many questions as you possibly can to get some more information from them. That's key. So that way you can because you're trying to find different ways to connect with them, right? I'll just use like a dog as an example, right? Say you know that they have a lab. I have a lab. That's something that you can connect on. Or they like going to Starbucks. Oh, weird. Realtors like going to Starbucks. Hey, it's a thing. Stuff like that, right? So you always want to make sure that you're getting as much information from them as you can, because you'll find ways to connect with them easier. Right?
I definitely I wanted to do that. I think the reason I jumped into it is because I didn't want her to feel like I was like buttering her up for like me to say I'm a real estate agent. Do you know anybody that's looking to buy or sell? I just kind of thought like, okay, get into it. So this is what I'm calling you about. On top, not like sounding rude or anything, but I guess that's just how I looked at it.
Absolutely, I totally get it. And that's the thing too, guys. You're not bothering them. You're not bothering your people unless you're calling them like every single day and doing that, right? Don't call them every single day. I promise you, don't do that. Then you're gonna be bothering them. But at the same time, like if you're following up with them just to check in and see how everything is going, you're not bothering them. We all get that. I even get call bias, it's called, right? Or you get scared, you have that limiting belief. I have issues calling some of my agents that I have in the market center because I can't, like, right, Chris, you and I, we have
Yes,
all the time.
so during your all's call sessions yesterday, I did roster reach out. So I was calling my agents. I was calling just to reach out to them. I mean, I'm going to use the time and be effective. Now, I had my own script, and I'm not going to lie to you. I stuttered, I fumbled. And then after I started getting comfortable dialing and talking, I just kind of eased into it, right? It's going to take some practice. It's going to take some warm up. You know, Brandon, one of the things that you were talking about, just not trying to butter up somebody, the conversation should just be kind of organic with a script underlined, right? When she was talking about the 70-30 rule, you know, sometimes you're not going to talk 30% of the time. And the hard part, and I know this is my struggle, maybe it's my struggle, it might be somebody else's to share. Man, if somebody were to come to me and they have that shared passion or interest that I have about, well, all of a sudden I want to jump in and get excited and talk about, you have to be able to learn how to pull back and wonder what maybe, and so then the way I've had to train myself was to, yeah, because I have such a passion about said topic, we found that nugget, we found that thing that was in common. She used the labs, right? So people get real passionate about their animals. Well, hold back. Keep all your information about what you love about your lab and what you love about labs. Find out why they love their lab. You might find that it's a way different reason or viewpoint or perspective of what they like. And so then you're using that as collecting information. You're putting that into the database, and then you're knowing more about this person.
Thank you, man. Definitely appreciate that. I hear you.
Any other ahas or anything like that from today, or just scripts in general, anything?
Can I like just add something?
Please go right ahead.
So for me, I don't know for anyone else, it's, you know, if you haven't talked to somebody in 4 or 5 years, it could be, you know, a little awkward reaching out and just saying, hey, guess what? Just wanted to let you know I'm a real estate agent. They're like, okay, I haven't talked to you in 4 years. Kind of what you just said, finding something in common. So I used to be really close to somebody who right now is going through a very difficult time in more than one way. And I've already gone through what he's going through. So instead of just jumping in and saying, you know, because they're friends on Facebook, hey, guess what? I'm a real estate agent. I kind of reached out to him not too long ago. And I was like, hey, I saw that you posted this. Like, if you ever need to talk, you know, let me know. I've been through it, blah, blah, blah. And then he's, you know, he called me and we talked, and I let him just talk for like 40 minutes. And at the end, he's like, oh, and I'm looking to buy, not right now, but in the next year. I just moved, you know, I have a lease, but I'm looking to buy in the next year. And I'm like, no problem. I'm like, that's great. Keep me in mind. But I'm also trying to keep that, you know, connection with him. So I was like, listen, Mike, let's go out to lunch soon if you feel comfortable with that. Let's, you know, what you're going through, what you're going through, I know it's really difficult, and it helps to be around people. So I'm like, if you need anything, you know, let me know. And that's kind of how I eased into saying I'm in real estate. But it's also making him realize that I can relate to him and I can be more than just
salesperson,
just that person. Yeah. Which I think made him feel really good, just being able to talk to somebody. And then at the end, he's like, you know, I like, no one is like this. Like, no one's there. Like, I appreciate you're here. And it's just like taking that time to be there for other people, you know.
Something that was shared with me and along my path was that we're not in real estate, we're in the relationship business. It's not real estate, it's not transactional, it's relationship based. So to really echo a point that Chelsea made and emphasize it, people do business with people they like. Well, it's a relationship that you're creating and harboring. So just, you know, great job, Olivia, for doing that, right?
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and you guys, I mean, I think Chris and Chelsea will agree. I mean, we give you the script so you know what to say, but like in Olivia's case, that call turned into something else. You're reaching out to people to say, hey, I'm in real estate. But when you start asking the forward questions, because we do want to come from contribution, we do want to be there for people. These are people that we care about. If you don't get to the bottom of this these paragraphs, the fact that you just reached out to them, sometimes I just call people to say, hey, in Olivia's case where you haven't talked to somebody in 5 years, your first call is, hey, I was thinking about you. How you doing? What's going? You don't even bring up real estate. They're going to ask you sooner or later, what are you doing? You say, oh, I'm in real estate. And then if the conversation flows to something like that, don't worry about going through all the rest of it. You're going to call them back. You can get the rest of this later. They're going to follow. If they're on Facebook and you haven't talked to them, they're going to know you're a real estate agent. It's about making the contact. They're going to say, you're going to find a moment later to be able to say, hey, by the way, but in that case, that person needed a friend, and good for you. And I commend you for it. So it's not like you have to rattle all these things off during the first conversation that you have, especially if you haven't talked to someone in a long time. Just do a care call. They call them care calls. How you doing? Just ask the forward questions. What's going on? Because you're going to probably call them again. So don't feel like I have to get through all these things. Like you would call anyone else, it's going to follow a natural course. If the opportunity comes up, hey, how do you think about, if they start asking you, hey, how's it going? What do you like about real estate? Great. And this is why I'm calling you too. I wanted to catch up, but since I'm really excited about it, what do you plan? Just you go from there. You know what I mean? But you don't have to, the script is there to help you not get stuck, but the script also is not the script where every time you call, because you can call them back. You can call them back and ask them for a referral. You can call them back and ask them, what are your real estate plans?
I think that it's sometimes you see on Facebook the meme of like, be as confident as your friend who's like in an MLM company. It's like, just go in. I mean, the reason we call, at least I think they call too, or even touch base. Yes, we're trying to build a business, but we do care. It's like Chris said, we care about people. And so as long as you call someone and you're genuine in what you're saying to them, it doesn't necessarily, yes, it might help your business, but it also might just help you feel better and them feel better. And that's all. I think that helps.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody. Any other things you would like to share about your script practice or anything like that? Any other last questions about what we went over today?
Chelsea, while I remember, can I steal you for like 30 seconds after you're done?
Yes, absolutely.
Chelsea, can you show us how to unarchive a contact that we've already archived in Command?
Sure, absolutely. Where is my command? What's the question? There we go. All right, so when you're in contacts here, all right, so what'll happen is when you go into your commands, you're going to click on your name up here in the top right hand corner. Click on settings. Then over on the left, so I got to keep moving you guys out of the way, I apologize. Over on the left, there's going to be a button where it says command settings, or command settings. You'll click on that, click on contacts, and then there's going to be a contact archive.
Contact archive, okay.
And then everybody that you've ever archived is going to be in here, and you can restore them if you need to.
Got it. Thank you.
Of course. Any other questions? Okay. All right, guys. Well, we got done a little bit early today, but go out and make some calls and get those people in your database and do some business. Exciting.
Thank you, Mama.
Yeah, no problem, guys. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good day.
Bye.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you, Chelsea.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.